me!
No!
Please use me!
No! You cost too much!
Don't be a wimp, just use them. Wait a minute, no, not the duct tape, come on, come on. Don't do that. No, not again, come on. Don't.
Alright, you're going in the pouch.
I thought you were a knife user.
What'd you
I
say?
thought you were a knife user.
That's the way you want to be? Alright. Alright, let's go. Bang, Neves Knives. I'm Jared, my lovely wife Kara is at work, and this is the review on the infamous Spyderco Slysz Bowie. Slysz Bowie, whatever you want to call it. Well, I have to thank Noise Knives for gifting this knife to us. What an amazing knife. You know, honestly, this knife was never on my radar because I know how ridiculously hard it is to get one of these and what they're going for on the secondary market. And we're going to talk about whether or not it's worth it or not. Is this knife worth the secondary prices? And we'll talk about that here in a minute. Now, it's an awesome knife, man. I gotta say, it is an amazing knife. It cuts so good, so good. But we're gonna get into that in just a second. First off, this is CTS XHP steel with a beautiful stonewash, if my camera would pick it up, with a beautiful, beautiful stonewash. Love the stonewashing that Spyderco does, especially from their Taiwan factory. Titanium frame lock, no lock bar insert, no over travel stop. Very strong lockup though. I mean, this thing it's a very, very solid. Perfectly centered. I have not taken it apart because it does not need to be. It is extremely smooth. And let's just talk about the action really quick because the action is really good on it. One, I love the sound of the lockup. Very, very nice action. It's just incredibly, incredibly smooth. With a nice clicky but light detent where it's, you can hear it. It's clicky, but it's not overly strong, so it's very easy to deploy even with the reverse flick. Now, there you do have to squeeze your finger in there really tight to get to the hole. That's what she said. But you do have to squeeze your finger in there pretty tight to really get in there. And it, yeah, it works. You know, it just, you know, you do have to get in really tight. The thumb does work, you know, a lot easier. And the left hand is very easy, you know, because of the access to that hole. Now, the lock bar is also very easy to access. And I tend to just let it drop right there, right onto my finger, and then close it with my thumb. You can do it lots of different ways, but it's just such a free dropper. Well, I know it doesn't have an over travel stop on the lock bar, so you can overspring this. So you want to be careful not to do that, but in my opinion, it kind of gives you a signal, you know, like when you have it held this way, see right there, it's not yet ready. But once I get past it, bam, it drops. So I never really worry about over traveling the lock bar. But when you do unlock it, the detent is very, very early. So you can just push past it if you want to. It does not have a detent ramp, but it doesn't need one because it's, you know, it seems like you're always past it, even if you don't let it hit your finger, because it's so early. And you can easily, once it's past the detent, slap it shut. It's very, very smooth. Not drop shutty, but incredibly, incredibly smooth. So it's a nice, consistent, glassy smoothness that kind of like what people call Sebenza smooth. That's exactly the type of action that this has. Now, the titanium, this one, you know, came a little used, even though it does have the factory edge still, which I do want to talk about the factory edge here in a second. But the handle, I like this type of finish, the type of finish that just takes the scratches and just looks like a tool, which this one does extremely well. Like, you know, obviously it has little scratches and dings, and I love that. Now, some people get worried about that, which I don't know why, because at any point I can, one, tumble this myself and make it a fresh finish, or two, send it out and get it blasted, which would be just fine, and it'd be like brand new. So I don't ever worry about the titanium scratching or anything like that. If it ever got bad enough, I just easily just go send it to Richie or Lindy, you know, Lindy, Lou, and Richie to get blasted. So not a problem there. Let's talk about the cutting performance and this edge really quick, because I have not sharpened this. And I know a lot of people are going to think, you know, like, oh, I haven't sharpened it, you know, because of, you know, its rarity and all that. The reason why I haven't sharpened it is because it does not need it at all. This factory edge is done so well. I mean, so good. Not only sharpness, but it definitely did not have a burnt edge. I've been using the heck out of it. And the only little bit of damage I have at all is right here at the tip from doing utility cuts. And it's very, very minor. And it's not worth sharpening yet. I could technically strop it out probably, or maybe just hit the tip a little bit on a ceramic and then strop it. But it's still incredibly sharp. I'm very impressed with this edge and the angle too. It has a great angle. I'm not sure exactly what angle it is. Probably around 20 degrees, but it seems to cut so good. Nice crowned spine. It does have a little platform here for you to really put leverage in, but the blade is very, very, the geometry is really good. I would have thought that the geometry was bad. I measured this one about 15 thousandths behind the edge right here. So it's really good. The thickness of the spine is not overly thick, and it just passes through material so nicely. Now, for utility cut, you see it has a big belly. Now, with that big belly, people probably don't think, which I'm the same way, you know, that clip points and buoys don't do great utility cutting. But this actually does pretty good. This little spot right there really gives you a spot to kind of wrap your middle finger around and put your pointer right there. And utility cuts works really good. It's a great utility cutter. Now, it's not its main purpose. So you're not going to have as much leverage as out of like a sheep's foot or a Warncliffe or a drop point. But considering it does it very, very well and it works, it will get you by perfectly well with utility cuts. It does them great. I have no complaints with the way it does utility cuts. It does them phenomenally. Really, really good. The Choil is pretty good. Now, you know, I obviously always like a deeper Choil because I like to sharpen, but if you look, there's nothing in the way there. The stop pin's right there. So I can sharpen it and then put that back there. That's very easy to replicate, and you can see how thin that is right there, actually. But I can easily replicate that with just a little diamond rod or a Dremel. So I'm very, very happy with that. And they put a straight down plunge grind, so it doesn't have a taper. I am so happy with that. That looks great and done so well. The hole is, it's not sharp, it's knocked down, but it's sharp enough to where you can, you know, get good grip on it. The jimping is well done. Very, very good jimping. And like I said, it leaves you a little flat platform for your fingers. The ergos are really good. Really good ergos. They feel really good. I always thought they would be a little sharp, you know, and it is a little bit, you know, because it is corners. They're not knocked down as much as you'd like, but because it's contoured a little bit, it does feel very comfortable in the hand. Now, this lock bar, if I held it right here, it's very uncomfortable. I mean, it very sharp, right? Not sharp, but you know, it's annoying. But they leave a spot right there for you to put your finger in, and then I basically let this sit right in between. So it winds up being very comfortable as long as I don't put my fingers right there. So it works out really, really good. Perfect length of a handle. And I always thought this knife was bigger than it actually is. Let's actually talk about the size really quick, and then we're going to get into some more things about this knife. So it's a 3.5-inch blade, 7 3/4 overall. Good size comparisons. Let's do the Spyderco Shaman. Spyderco Shaman is a bit longer. I always thought this thing was bigger. I thought it was like the size, if not bigger, than the Shaman. Here is the Para 3 and the Para 2. It's basically in between these two knives. So if you know Spyderco's, it's directly in between these two knives, the Para 2 and the Para 3. So perfect size for EDC. The clip works so good in and out of the pocket, and it is reversible, so you can reverse it. Now, a lot of people don't like the way that the clip looks, but I'll say this, function, it works so good. It's very deep in the pocket. You do not have barely anything hanging out. You can easily get it in and out of the pocket one-handed without grabbing the seam of your pants and deploy it, get your cut, put it back in. It's so comfortable in the pocket. It's perfect. To me, this is a great weight. I don't know the exact weight. I'll write it on the screen, but to me, this is great. It makes me feel like I have a knife that's able and tough, yet it's not like extremely heavy or anything. Backspacer's G10, but it does add traction in the hand. And the clip, also back to the clip really quick, I think they might have a titanium clip that you can replace this with. I know they do for like the Spyderco Para 3 lightweights and stuff, so I think they might have a clip for this that's replaceable if you like just a regular titanium clip. Centering is right on. I mean, this thing is just done so well. Love, love, love this knife. This knife has really shown me why so many people like this knife. Now, I'm going to get into the bad, then I want to get into if it's worth it, right? If it's worth it. So, the bad. The only bad things I could come up with is this thing has such a nice big stop pin. I love the size of the stop pin on this thing. Nice big heavy duty stop pin that acts as the close and the open stop pin. It's rock solid. But then they turn around after giving you nice big hardware on the clip and the pivot. They give you little hardware. What are we talking about? I wish they would have just did the big hardware all the way around. That would have been a beautiful, beautiful thing. Even though the clip works so well, it does slide side to side. And also the hardware, it's good hardware. It's great hardware. It's just, I don't like the small hardware. But the clip is going to go like that a little bit and give you little scratches on the knife. Like I said, I'm not really worried about the scratches, so that's not that big of a deal to me. Another thing, I wish they would have just raised this up a little bit right here and then went down, because they could have given you better access to that hole. It's not that big of a deal because you always have great access for the thumb. And if you're left-handed, you're really in luck for the Spidey flick. But it would have been nicer to not have to really, because I can't get my nail in there. I can only get like the meat of my finger in there. It works just fine, but I would have rather seen that. Other than that, I cannot find anything else to really complain about. The edge was so good, or the edge is so good on it. The stone washing is beautiful. It cuts so good. I can't wait to finally sharpen this, but I am going to try to get the full life I can out of this edge. So I'll sharpen it when it is good and ready, but I've been using it and using it and using it, and it's just held up. CTS XHP is very good steel. Now, I personally, like, it does polish very, very easily. Let me just say that. It polishes almost too easily and too good. So in my opinion, it does like a little bit more of a toothier edge if you like a lot of bite on your edge. If you go to a straight polish, it will be a little slick, in my opinion, just because it polishes so good. Okay, let's talk about that price. Is it worth it? So everybody that I've heard say, no, it's not. It's not worth, say, $500, $600, $700. Well, I'm going to argue against that. Yes, it is. It is damn worth $500. And you want me to say why? I'll tell you why. Is this knife worth $500? It's a Medford S35VN titanium frame lock. No lock bar insert. No over travel. I don't think it has an over travel. No over travel. What's the difference there? Okay, let me pull out another one. Let's talk about the Shirogorov. Is this worth $900? Some people might argue it's not. But my point is that they're... Okay, let's do this one then. How about this? The Chris Reeves. Titanium frame lock. S35VN. What's the difference there? Right? If this is a knife that you love, and you like it a lot, then yes, it's very comparable to these other knives that are $400, $500, $600, $700. Now, it originally was like, I think $380 or something from the factory. I forget. So that's what they based it at. So that is a little bit better of a price point. Obviously, we always want to save money. But my point is that if this is something that you love, right? I'm not going to tell you that not to spend your money on it. I'm not going to say don't spend $500 on this knife. It is not worth it, because then I'd have to say the same thing about a Medford or a Chris Reeves knife or and you could argue those are made in the U.S. You could argue that. So, and I would accept that. But if you're willing to pay it for a Shirogorov from Russia or, other knives, my point is that you're getting a phenomenal knife here. You're getting everything that those knives give you, equal or, right there. So it's hard for me to say now without, feeling like I'm being dishonest that this knife isn't worth that as well. Now, if you wouldn't be willing to spend it on that, then no, it's not worth it to you. And if you know whether or not you're willing to pay the price or not. Granted, yes, they used to be worth less when they were straight up from the factory. Now they're discontinued. You cannot get them no more unless if you do pay the price. And the way I see it is that people are like, listen, I'm not going to get rid of it for what I paid because it's worth more to me. Like, meaning it's that good of a knife. So I can respect somebody saying, I want $100 extra if I'm willing to get rid of it. So, I can't argue with that. And I can't also argue with the people that say, yeah, no, there's no way I'm paying that. And I can't argue with that either. But if you are willing to pay it, it's a great knife, and it is, it's just as good as these other knives in a lot of ways. Now, this was a gift to me, so I didn't pay it, and I am very, very thankful. Extremely, extremely thankful. I appreciate everything everybody does for us on our channel. We absolutely would not be where we're at without all the support from the people in the community and just all the awesome, amazing people. We love all you guys. Nice knives. Thank you, brother. I appreciate this so much, man. This is such an amazing gift. Thank you so much. And also the other gift you gave us, it's amazing. And thank you guys for watching. If you guys like the content, don't forget to drop a like, possibly subscribe. We love you. Peace.